Good morning, welcome to the Westwoods in Wiltshire on Holy Cross Day for the last episode of this season of Going to Ground, episode 400, would you believe? And it's good to be back in a place where we have filmed many of these short films on place, faith, landscape. And there have been many words spoken and written about the momentous events in our nation over the last few days, and I sometimes feel that the more we say, the less it means. So I was glad to hear measured words from the Poet Laureate Simon Armitage on Radio 4 yesterday morning. Some of you may have caught him, not only in that elegant poem, Floral Tribute, but the way he introduced this, describing the challenge of saying something small about something so huge. How do I write in a little way, he said, about a theme so great? And of course, that's the poet's challenge, to express in everyday ways that we can relate to, themes that go beyond words, by use of words. So the poet, of course, has got to use words to express what goes beyond them, and so metaphor is used to allow for that reaching of meaning beyond beyond normal description. And they also have to show, they don't just contain the great ideas in the everyday, so a guy roped them to the ground, but they thereby also show that the ordinary things are shot through with transcendence and glory. Now, if that's the poet's role, it's also, it seems to me, the priest's role. What Christians call the incarnation locates the biggest idea of all, the creative word of God, the presence of God himself in time and place, encased in infant form. And that's partly what Holy Cross Day celebrates, that God was here, that these events that transcend history and time took place, were located, hammered into the earth. And the priest's role, therefore, is likewise metaphorical. We have to constrain transcendent meaning in everyday things, like bread and wine. And we also show, hopefully, or describe how everyday things are therefore full of glory, how the earth is full of the glory of God. And I think there's also a parallel here. You might disagree, but it's the understanding of monarchy that I relate to. There is a parallel with constitutional monarchy, which also has a metaphorical role in limiting or containing ideas, majesty, nationality that would otherwise be untethered in time and place and person, and also showing that particular cultures and places are somehow glorious. They express the more than just that we were talking about. The problem, of course, and the danger is that the particular people can never fully express all that we want them to, and by our own limitation, or that role and responsibility is abused somehow. But it's there nevertheless, particularly in the British system and the English Constitution, which is a curious thing, of course, because the English Constitution isn't written down. It's a jumble of archaic traditions and practices, some of which are written down. And Bagehot's work, The English Constitution, is still the clearest articulation of it, and it's 150 years old. And he describes this metaphorical role of monarchy in relation to the church particularly as one of local holiness. Isn't that a lovely phrase? You can imagine that appeals to me. Because in the British system, monarchy's power is an echo seen as an echo of divine power and the kingdom of God. And it both derives from God's glory and defers to it, which is the most important, I think, check on our constitutional monarchy. We've talked before in these films about how the very coins in your pocket are inscribed with the initials DG and FD, Deo Gratia, by the grace of God, Queen or King now, FD, Defender of the Faith. There is a sense in which the monarch's role is meant to point to the reign of God. And we must pray that King Charles is able to reign in a way with these ancient customs, which he understands deeply, that is both real and attractive and readable by our place and time. He's someone who has a deep love, of course, of the earth, who understands the mystical. He also likes Wendell Berry, friends, I gather, which is good news for all those who've, like me, see that writer as a bit of a hero. He's cropped up in Going to Ground more than once. And my prayer at the end of this season is that you too would know your situation shot through with the hope of glory, and that the glory of God is present, rooted where you are. God bless you, friends, as you go to ground.